Coming to you from an undisclosed location, somewhere deep in the heart of the Santa Monica Mountains, I am your intrepid host, L.A. Marzulli. Welcome to a very special presentation. My guest is Dr. Mark Conn. We're going to be talking about this so-called space flight and what we see in there that just isn't adding up. So we'll get into that, but first, a word from our trusted sponsor. Gold has surged 46% in less than a year, doubling the gains of NASDAQ and S&P 500. But this isn't just another rally. Global reserves are shifting, exposing cracks in the monetary system. Investors are losing confidence in paper gold and demanding physical metal, creating a massive gap between gold owned and gold available. But this isn't about how institutions broke yet another system. It's about how you can profit from it. Right now, Noble Gold Investments has a limited supply of investment-grade gold bars and coins available. As banks scramble to fulfill their obligations, pushing gold prices even higher, you can profit. Smart investors are already moving into physical gold. Noble Gold Investments makes it easy for you to do the same. And right now, when you make a qualified investment, Noble Gold will add a free 10th ounce gold coin to your order. Folks, there's always a risk with any investment that you may consider, but don't wait until it's too late. Visit www.noblegoldinvestments.com and turn their panic into your profit. Again, noblegoldinvestments.com, noblegoldinvestments.com. We did it a couple of years ago, and folks, I'm really glad we did. noblegoldinvestments.com. Mark, always great to see you. Thanks for coming on the show. And I'm going to run the clips before I do anything so the folks can see what we're talking about here. So this is the first clip, and just watch what happens here. So here's the capsule, supposedly.
No, what's going to come out of her mouth, but really her heart.
Now the door opens. Let me just stop it right there. I think you all can see that the door right there is opening. So there's no seal. The door opens. Oh, quick, close the door. And going back here, this is actually when allegedly, so the capsule was landed.
That's still the weighing emotion, or she's still just...
And here we go. Watch the door again. It opens and shuts, opens and shuts. Now Jeff Bezos, and this goes on for a while. Look right here. Why is he speaking to someone there?
Over a third.
Or is he just waving? It seems like he's talking, doesn't it? I think it's a fair assessment. So finally, this goes on forever. Now watch when he opens the door right about here. So here we go.
Here goes Jeff Bezos to open the hatch.
And look at the door when it opens. See how flimsy that is? Now he'll get out of the way and you'll see it right there. See right here with my cursor? So that gives you an idea. It looks like a piece of plywood with some foam rubber or whatever. And the fact that when he opens it, watch the way it goes like this. I'm not buying that that's a real door. I'm just wondering what we're looking at. Watch again.
Open the hatch.
So you can see the door's even moving as he's unlocking it. I mean, if that's a pressurized cabin, I'm Winnie the Pooh. I mean, it doesn't look real at all. Your thoughts?
The entire thing, I just have to keep coming back to the question of why.
Right.
We know the Blue Origin, along with SpaceX and a number of other companies, are perfectly capable of launching things into orbit, let alone the Kármán line where this one was supposed to have gone. So not near where we would need to have it in orbit, not nearly as high. We know that something went up. There were people tracked it. Many people saw it. They observed it. They observed it with their own eyes. They looked and watched through high-powered binoculars and telescopes. And so this was something that was observed. What would be the purpose in then seemingly faking it? Because as we look at this and as we go through the different steps, it's open from the inside. That's not something that's going to just occur by someone, turning a doorknob on the inside. This is a pressurized capsule. And then if that occurred, well, then why continue with the charade of Jeff Bezos going up, cranking the thing, unlocking it, going in, leaning in to seemingly say something to someone that's inside the capsule? If this is a pressurized capsule, that glass is very thick, you're not going to be able to hear anything inside that capsule with someone just talking on the outside. I just don't know why this was necessary? Why go through these steps? That's the question I keep coming back with, is why?
And I mean, you can see when they open the door, with the women inside the capsule, they open the door and then they shut it real quick. Well, to shut a door like that, I mean, there's like levers. I mean, you're talking, this thing it's sealing off the inside. And that's not what we see. And, you mentioned in our preview before we started rolling the cameras here, you go on a commercial airline.
Right.
The whole lever thing, I mean, it creates it's an airlock.
How seat is that door?
Yeah, exactly.
And that aircraft is only designed to go 35 to 40,000 feet.
Yeah.
And this went 66 miles. And so the pressure differential between the inside of the capsule and the very thin atmosphere at that point, this is high pressure. And commercial airliners have much larger mechanisms, much more robust mechanisms to open the much larger, thicker doors than what we see evidenced here.
And the commercial airliners, I mean, that's 9 inches right there from here to here. And they're about 9 to 10 inches. I mean, they're very, very thick. That's not what we see. We see a little 2-inch door that when he opens, it kind of goes like this. I mean, it's laughable. So why? I agree. Why are they doing this? And, I found it troubling, and I get it. We could always, there's a word called pareidolia. So when you look at and you see a shape or a face in a cloud that looks like Jesus, well, it's really not Jesus' face in the clouds. It kind of looks like him, but that's pareidolia. Or Richard Shaw and I used to call it Jesus in Matako, which actually made international headlines. Oh, look, here's Jesus' face in the taco. I mean, it's called pareidolia. So, something is going on. And I get it. The reason why I'm talking about pareidolia is because when you turn the patch, it looks like Baphomet to me. Why is that there? I mean, you have all the things that they can, and they always, and isn't it interesting? Upside down, right? And everything is turned upside down in their world. So I find that very troubling. And then, of course, Katy Perry comes out and she's gushing about the sacred feminine. What are your thoughts on the Baphomet patch first, and then the so-called sacred feminine second?
I think that it is important that we be very cautious that we not see demonic activity and evil behind every rock and every stump.
I agree.
So I do think that there's a level of caution that we have to exhibit in looking at the things as their culture continues to progressively grow more and more wicked. So I think we have to use some caution. At the same time, it doesn't mean that we ignore everything that we see. The old preacher, the Great Awakening, Jonathan Edwards, he had a statement, and he said, just because we recognize that counterfeit money exists doesn't mean we stop using the real thing. And so just because we recognize that there are people who are making things appear to be evil and they're really not, they're making more out of them than they should, doesn't mean that evil doesn't really exist. And that some of these things really are representing what they seem to be representing. And this is one of those cases. It's not where you have to squint and say, well, if you turn your eyes kind of at an angle and then move your head just right, you're going to be able to see this. You just flip the patch and it's fairly easy to see an image of Baphomet there. And of course, as that's linked to Katy Perry's reference to the divine feminine and how she felt very close to that divine feminine, Gaia, Mother Earth, everything descending from, and of course, it's ancient paganism. It is a matriarchal type of a viewpoint, and it goes directly against God the Father by bringing in, quote, God the Mother.
Right.
And we see that exhibited in many, many different ways all throughout history. All of it's pagan, and it is a direct affront to exactly who our scriptures say God really is.
Baphomet is first of all a chimera. It's the head of a goat, but the breasts of a woman, the body of a man. So it's mixed. It's both sexes, and it's a chimera. So it's very complex. And I would And again, we're not trying to disparage Katy Perry here, folks. We're not. She's welcome to come on and defend her position. Katy Perry's entitled to believe whatever she wants to believe. That's fine. But as Christians, we're looking at this kind of going like, well, maybe we need to address this because millions of teenage girls and people who follow her will think that this is a great thing and start to question, yeah, the sacred feminine. Well, that sounds pretty good. That's what we're pushing back against. We're not pushing back against Katy Perry. We're pushing back against the ideology in which perhaps she embraces as well as others. But, this whole transgender movement, and again, that's a hot button issue here. So the whole transgender movement is what it is, but it's, in fact, I read a couple of days ago that someone in Maine, I forget who it was, who's a biological woman, is running in a beauty pageant against a man who's had the surgery. And it's, the guy looks like a beautiful woman, but he's not. He's still a man, no matter what you do cosmetically. We're going to be having David Arthur here on the show in the upcoming weeks, who lived as a woman for a number of years, and he'll be weighing in on that. And unfortunately, probably most of what we're doing today, Mark, is going to go right over to Rumble. So I'm here with Dr. Mark Conn, and unfortunately, we cannot run this program on YouTube. I mean, it's a bummer. So you're going to have to come over to Rumble. It's at least a 20, 25-minute interview. Check it out. It's very interesting, shocking information, but we can speak our minds on Rumble. We have free speech there. Unfortunately, not so much here on YouTube. We love YouTube. It's great, but they need to allow free speech, because without free speech, what do you have? Anyway, follow us over to Rumble, and we'll go from there.